So I did my presentation on Tina Modotti, and this is some background information about her. She was born Assunta Adelaide Luigia Modotti Mondini in Italy in 1896. Before becoming a photographer, she was an actress and a model, and acted in several silent movies in the early 1920s. She immigrated to the United States when she was 16, and first went to San Francisco, then moved to Los Angeles to pursue a film career. In 1920, she landed the starring role in a movie, The Tiger's Coat. She moved to Los Angeles with her boyfriend, Robert Ritchie, who was also a photographer, but later began an affair with another photographer, Edward Weston. Ritchie was unaware of the affair, however, and he took one of Weston's portfolios and went to Mexico in hopes of working on an exhibition there. Then Modotti went to Mexico to join Robbo, but while on her way, she found out he had died from smallpox. In 1927, she joined the Mexican Communist Party, and in 1930, she was exiled from Mexico after an anti-communist and anti-immigrant press campaign. She then moved to Europe, first going to Berlin, then to Moscow, and then to Italy to join the anti-fascist party. Later that year, she went back to Moscow, and in the following years was involved in working in secret missions on behalf of the Russians. During the rise of the Spanish Civil War, she left Moscow and went to Spain. In April of 1939, following the collapse of the Republican movement in Spain, she left Spain and returned to Mexico under a pseudonym. She died in 1942 under what was seen as suspicious circumstances, but an autopsy said she had died of heart failure. And this is some information about her photography and her background with photography. She had family involved with photography. Her uncle ran a photography studio in Italy, and her father ran a studio that was similar to her uncle's in San Francisco. And having her uncle and dad being involved in photography, this also influenced Modotti to be interested in photography. She became interested in people and the modern aesthetic when she moved to Mexico, and as her photography skills matured, her work included images of peasants and workers and experiments with architectural interiors, flowers, and urban landscapes. She and Edward Weston opened a portrait studio in Mexico City, taking photographs for a book by Anita Bremer. Also during this time, she became the photographer of choice for the blossoming Mexican mural movement and documented the works of Jose Clemente Orozco and Diego Rivera, and many of her pictures of flowers originate from that time. Her work was noted as romantic and revolutionary by Mexican photographer Manuel Alvarez Bravo. The romantic aspects of her work were influenced by Edward Weston, and the revolutionary aspects were from her growing interest in politics. She did her first one-woman retrospective exhibition at the National Library in 1929, and it was advertised as the first revolutionary exhibition in Mexico. After she was deported from Mexico, she put her camera aside, and no photographs from her survived after this, and it is presumed that she never photographed again. And these are some few images from her. This first one is called Calla Lily. And Modotti's work included many pictures of flowers, and this photograph I thought was one of the best. This photograph is a good example of filling the frame, and there are also curved lines from the shape of the petals, and also there are some soft shadows that are present on the petals. This photo was taken in 1925, and I thought this was interesting. This photo is interesting to me because it showed good use of composition, and I like the soft shadows that are created on the flower. I also like how simple the photo is and how you can see a lot of the detail of the flower even though it isn't in color. And this photo is called Roses, Mexico, and it was taken in 1924. This photograph is another example of Modotti's work with flowers, and it is pretty similar to the photo before with its composition and the use of shadows. This photo also demonstrates filling the frame, and there are also soft shadows that are present on the petals as well. This photo is called Workers' Parade, and it was taken in 1926 on May Day or International Workers' Day. And this is an example of how her involvement and interest in politics influenced her photography. This photo shows how everyone came together to embrace what they do, and this photo also demonstrates a pattern in a way with everyone wearing the same hat. I thought it was this photo is interesting because of the message that it gives. I think that Modotti took a good picture showing how the workers came together to celebrate May Day. And this final photo is called Staircase. It was taken around 1924 or 1926. This photograph shows a good use of diagonal lines from the stairs and the rails. It also shows some depth, as you can see more stairs that are going down. I thought this photo is interesting because of all the lines that are in the photo. I like how the photo is taken at a different angle, and it's taken from a point of view where you're not just looking down at the stairs. And this is the last photo, called Stadium Mexico City. And this photograph is a good demonstration of diagonal lines. These lines also act as leading lines and create some depth. The photo also captures some harsh shadows that are present on the stairs of the stadium. This photo is taken around 1927, and I thought this photo is interesting because of the use of diagonal lines and the angle that the photo was taken from. And these are just a couple of the resources that I used.